In today's FreeCAD video, we're looking at the Assembly Workbench and how to drive that from a Var Set. We're going to be utilizing FreeCAD Sketcher, creating a blueprint for the assembly and driving it from that using the Var Set. At the end of this tutorial, you'll have a cabinet that's fully parametric, all assembled in FreeCAD's Assembly Workbench. So I hope you're enjoying these videos, and let's have a look at this workflow. If you like what you see and you want to donate to the channel, then you can do so via Ko-Fi or Coffee at ko-fi.com/MANG0 or via PayPal at paypal.com/paypalme/DarrenBEstone. I also run a Patreon where you can get early access and additional content, and that's at patreon.com/MangoJellySolutions. Links can be found in the channel header, on the About page, or in the descriptions of these videos. So I'm in FreeCAD. At the moment I'm in the part design. I'm going to come over to the sketcher, create a new document, and start with a skeleton sketch. Create a new sketch. We'll place this on the XZ plane. This will be the front view of the cabinet. Our scaling at the moment is set quite close, so I can zoom out to about 1 meter and then start adding the geometry that I want. We're looking to replicate the front view of the cabinet. Let's drop a rectangle in, right click to cancel, and set some dimensions. Let's set the height to 2.5. Now I'm going to just change millimeters to M for meters, and that sets the length. We'll change that to 1M for a meter. Zoom out slightly and take these 2 points and the center point and use the symmetrical constraint. Remember, you can choose a different unit of measurement from here. So if you wanted to use feet or inches, we've got the choice there. So now I'm going to add some lines, and these will be the shelves. Let's hover over the left edge. See, I've got a point on object constraint, and the right edge, point on object constraint and horizontal constraint. Let's move up and do the same here. So if I'm hovering over here, you can see I've got symmetrical constraint that's kicked in. I don't want that. That is because I'm around about the center of the shape. So you can see that there. If I come down here, right at the top, I get a point on object constraint. This can catch you out if you're not careful. Let's come down a bit, point on object constraint, and add the second shelf. Let's add one more. So we have 3 shelves. Right click to cancel. I'm going to use the dimensioning tool and dimension each of these. Take the point, and it automatically dimensions to the bottom, which is what we want. And let's drop the dimension in. I'm going to set this to 500 millimeters. The next one, this one here, 1 meter. And this one, going to go for 1.6 meters. So we have our shelves and the layout from the front view of the cabinet. Let's hit close. Select the sketch and use the fit tool, and we can see it there. Let's save it. So we have our skeleton. Let's add a data source. I'm going to use a Var Set, but you can use a spreadsheet if you want. Let's add the Var Set. Make sure add another is selected. First parameter I'm adding is cab height, which is the height of the cabinet. I've used a capital C and a capital H. And there's a reason for that. We'll see that in a moment. Let's click on the property length, make sure that's set. Now I'm going to set this to a value. So we click in there and set this to 2000 and hit OK. Next, let's use the cab width for the width of the cabinet. Gain property length, and we'll set this one to 1000 and hit OK. Let's cancel out and see what we got. So we can see on the Var Set, by using a capital C and a capital H, it's actually placed a space in here. Now with Var Sets, you can't edit the label. You'd have to delete the name value pair and then add a new one by double clicking on the Var Set. I'm going to come over to the sketcher and start adding in the Var Set variables. Let's double click on the height. At the moment it's 2.5 meters. Let's click on the button on the end. Let's type in Var Set, and we want cab height, and hit OK. Automatically updates. Let's hit OK again. And while this is open, I can come over to the model and hit the Var Set and change this if I wanted to. And this will automatically update in the sketch. Let's set the width. This one here. Again, double click and use this brushing editor on the end. And this one's going to be VarSet dot cab width. Hit enter, enter again, and enter once more. You can see they've gone orange, so they're externally referenced. So come over to the model, double click the Var Set. The sketcher is still open. You can just add another one in here. So shelf 1 height. I've hit enter by mistake and you see it's just added it. So shelf 1 height, let's take either the top or bottom one. Let's go for the top one. And in here, the length, click on that, 1.6. So VarSet dot shelf, see it's already in there, shelf 1 height. Yeah, OK, and OK again. And let's change shelf 1 height to 1.6. And we can delete the millimeters and use M. You can see with VarSet, we don't have to keep on switching back and forth from our workbench, from our sketcher, closing it, and then editing the VarSet and going back in. Double click the VarSet again and add the rest. So that's make sure add another is checked. And I want shelf 2 and shelf 3. Now just hitting enter. Let's cancel out. And hook these up. So shelf 2, this one here, you can see I've made a mistake in here and I can't edit this. So I need to remove the property and add the property again. So shelf 2 is going to be a meter. And shelf 3 is 500 millimeters or half a meter. Hook these up, so double click. This is VarSet dot shelf 3. And this one is VarSet shelf 2. So all the constraints are hooked up to the VarSet, and we can edit these to what we like. Let's hit close. So we've created the skeleton. Now I'm going to come over to the part design and start creating the parts. Look to the model, we've got the sketch, the VarSet, and let's just rename this sketch. I'm going to rename it to skeleton sketch. We'll use the skeleton sketch for assembly against and the VarSet for dimensions. So now let's make sure nothing's selected, otherwise when we create a body in the part design, our sketch we pulled in. New body is created. I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to use this just as a visual reference. So looking along the YZ plane, I'm going to create a side, not constraining against it. We just add a rectangle. Once it's added, right click to cancel. Make sure this point is coincident with this line. We can set some dimensions. I'm going to set dimension across here and hook this up to the VarSet cabinet width. Hit OK. And same with this one. We'll hook this up to the VarSet cabinet height and hit OK. Right click to cancel. We can still see we've got some movement in here. Let's take these 2 points and the center point and create symmetry against those and then hit close. Let's select the sketch and create a pad. The length, I'm going to set to 30 millimeters and hit OK. So this body is the side body. Let's rename that and set that to side body. Next, let's create a very simple shelf, which also I'm going to use as a top and bottom. Let's type in shelf. Got the shelf body. Again, we'll use a sketch. Let's go along the XY plane this time. Looking down on the object. I can hide these if I wanted to, so I can hide the sketch, the skeleton, and the other side body. And we'll create a centered rectangle, coincident to the center point, coming out and setting some length. And then set in some dimensions. Again, using the Var Set, I'm going to use the cabinet width. So this is a very basic cabinet. And hit OK. And we just make these two edges equal. Come over to tasks and hit close. Take the sketch. That's center our view. Use the pad. I'll pad it by 30 millimeters. And hit OK. So we have our parts. Before we start the assembly, we have to make sure that all the parts are visible. So that includes the sketch, the side body, and the shelf body. Otherwise, they won't show up for import into our assembly. We can see how the Var Set controls those parts. Click on the Var Set, and let's say we change the cabinet height to 2000 and hit enter. Our side panel has adjusted, and the Var Sets will be used to adjust the parts and also the assembly itself. Let's come over to the Assembly Workbench and create a new document for our assembly. We'll create a new assembly and import the parts into our assembly, starting with the skeleton sketch. Click that. Saying the current document must be saved, let's save the document and call it cabinet assembly and hit save. So asking us to ground the part. If I hit yes, I can use the fit all, and we see we have this widget here, which I can orientate the sketch. If I click off, the widget vanishes. So if I double click that, you can see it's not coming back, but I'll show you how to solve that issue in a moment. It's going to add a side body by clicking on it once. Let's add a second one by clicking on it again. If I accidentally add it again, then I'll just right click to remove. These are mobile because they're not grounded, can't move this one. Let's hit OK. So I've got this grounded part in the assembly. So let's select the part, which is a skeleton sketch, and click toggle grounded. Now I can click and click again to allow me to rotate this into position. Now that's in position. Hit the home key to center myself. Make sure the sketch is selected and turn the grounded back on and click off. So now I can start constraining to this. I'm going to use a point constraint to fix these 2 points together. So select the point constraint and select the top point of the side. Notice that when we select the different elements, we get an axis. This shows which way they're running. So if I select this line, you can see the normal is the Z and it runs this direction. The same with this line here, the normal runs this direction. If I click that point, we can see the normal's running this way. If I've selected the wrong point, then I can click it again and it'll be removed. So let's select this point and this one will run this way, which is not what we want, but I select it anyway and constrain those two. Now they're constrained, I can use the rotation to rotate it in the correct direction. We can see it's rotating around the Z axis. Let's zero that and use the Var's offset, show Var's offset, offset 1, click that, and we get our rotation tools up here. So we've got yaw, pitch, and roll. So let's change the roll. You can see that's working there. And if I type 90 degrees, you can see it's rotated. And let's try 180. And you can see we've got a bit of a problem. It flips around the other side. So I'm just going to use my down arrow key and press down and place that into position. Let's hit OK. That's in position now and hit OK again. If I'm not happy, I can click on one of these vertex and hit delete on the keyboard to get rid of it. But that's fine for me. Let's take the other side now. So again, using the fixed joint, making sure nothing's selected. Select this point and this one. Again, let's use the advanced offset, show advanced offset. And this one, let's try apply incremental changes this time and bring this down here. So if I move this by 1, it's going to move this one by 1 degree. If I type in 1 again, it's another degree. If I type in 12, it's 12 degrees from there, 12 degrees from there. And if I delete the 2, it's going to leave 1, so we get another degree. So that's how this one works. We can decide where that's going to go. Once I'm happy, I can hit OK. And if it's not in the right position, I can go back. You can see the roll here is minus 92. Let's delete that, place it at minus 90 and hit OK. So let's hit OK again. So I've got the two sides and my skeleton within. If I change the skeleton and say set the height, which is done via the Var Set. So in the cabinet, I've got the Var Set here. Set this to 250 and another row, enter. If I hit refresh now, this changes. We can drive the assembly via the skeleton. The assembly is inactive at the moment, so let's double click it and go back to it. Take the sketch and unground that. I'm going to click it again. This time let's rotate it slightly. So it's here and ground it once more. Hit the refresh, everything will follow. So you can see we've got full control over this. Let's unground that, click it again and look from the side view. Rotate this around and hit the refresh. Notice nothing happens until we ground it. Now hit the refresh and we're back to where we was before. So let's add the shelves now. Again, import part or import a component. So add the shelf body, got the body there, click off, move it out of the way, and we need 5 of those. So let's add a couple first. That's one more. Move these out of the way and hit OK. These get in the way, then we can hide them. So hide them from the tree view, pressing the spacebar. If we select them from the screen and press the spacebar, they are hidden, but if we look in the tree view, they show up as visible. If we look inside, you can see the pad's hidden. We must be aware of that. So select the pad, press the spacebar, let's just hide that side body. So I'm going to take these points, so this point, and control select this point. Do it slightly differently this time. Assembly is active. Use the fixed joint. And we need to rotate this. It's rotating around the wrong way. So we can use the show advanced and change the roll to 90 degrees and hit OK. OK again, and it's basically the same. Control select those points, fixed joint, show advanced offset, offset 1. So that's changed the roll 90. OK, and OK again. Repeating the same process each time. Let's add a few more. Insert component, 2 more shelves. Move these out of the way. Let's do these a different way this time. Let's select those and pick this point and this point. Show advanced, offset, and the roll. Type in 19 here. And we use the control for those points. Fixed joint, show advance, offset again, and 90 in that one, and hit OK. Now if I hit OK, we look down, we bring back the side body and the other side body. Got those two. Remember to save Control S. And because I changed the visibility and also edited the sketch, it's going to ask me to save. So let's hit yes. So now we've got an assembly. And if I come in and change the Var Set and change, say, the shelf height to 1200, hit refresh, that will change the position of the shelf. And this one, let's change that to 6, change the whole cabinet height to 2100 and hit refresh. Now, some of you may have noticed that I've made a mistake. If we look at the bottom shelf, it's attached at the wrong vertex. So it should be attached at this vertex here. Let's see how we can solve that. Come over to the joints, and we can see they're all hidden at the moment. Click on the joints and press the space bar. That will hide the top level joints. Press again. We can see all the joints are visible. And we can find which joints that we need. So I'm going to select this joint here. It will select it in the tree view. And I can double click the joint and edit it. It's attached to the shelf body. So I need to select the shelf body and then hit delete on the keyboard. Now that's gone, I can select the upper vertex here. And that shelf body has moved straight into place. Now, the reason why we didn't have to add any offsets is because they are actually already added, and it's inherited if we come in and look at the offset 1 from the previous position. Let's cancel that and then hit OK. So if I refresh this now, we can see that all is OK with our assembly. We just need to come in, select the joints and press the spacebar to hide them. So that's how to use a skeleton sketch in an assembly along with a Var Set. Hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope to see you in the next one. If you like what you see and you want to donate to the channel, then you can do so via Ko-Fi or Ko-Fi at ko-fi.com/MANG0 or via PayPal at paypal.com/paypalme/DarrenBEstone. I also run a Patreon where you can get early access and additional content, and that's at patreon.com/MangoJellySolutions. Links can be found in the channel header, on the About page, or in the descriptions of these videos. I thank everybody that's donated so far. It really helps to keep the lights on so I can produce more content and also expand the channel. Thank you for liking, commenting and subscribing to these videos, and I hope to see you again in the next one.